All right, let's get into it, because there's a lot happening in Foxborough right now. The New England Patriots are making moves, some exciting, some a bit concerning. And if you're a real fan, you know it's never just about the flashy headlines. Everyone wants to talk about wide receivers, the quarterback drama, or which veteran is on the chopping block. But if you're actually paying attention to what's going to shape the core of this team moving forward, especially for the upcoming season, you'll realize that a huge question mark still hangs over the left guard position. Yeah, that's right. Not the sexiest topic for the mainstream media, but absolutely critical for how this offense performs. And we just got both good and not so good updates on that front. Let's start with the less than ideal news. Rookie offensive lineman Layden Robinson, the same guy some of us hoped could push for a starting role right out of the gate, is currently sidelined. He's dealing with an undisclosed injury, and while the team hasn't gone into detail about what exactly is going on, it's clear that his development is temporarily on pause. That's a hit, because training camp is when we start to get a real look at who's capable of stepping up. You can't evaluate linemen fully in non-contact drills. We know that. You need the pads on, you need live action, and that's where we would have really seen whether he could push someone like Cole Strange or even start gaining ground on a guy like David Andrews in the middle if they wanted to experiment a bit. But for now, he's stuck watching from the sidelines, and that's a setback not just for him personally, but for a Patriots team that desperately needs consistency and depth on that offensive line. It's frustrating, especially because we saw how shaky that unit was last year. They were constantly shifting guys around, trying to find a rhythm, and never quite getting there. And one of the biggest reasons for that was the instability at the left guard spot. Michael Onwenu is locked in at right guard, and thank God for that, because he's been the one consistent piece they've had. But the left side? Still a puzzle. Cole Strange was supposed to be the long-term answer, but he hasn't lived up to expectations just yet. And now, with Layden not fully available, the options start to narrow. Nick Leverett could be in the mix, sure, but no one's expecting a massive leap from him. So we're back to square one in some ways, hoping Strange makes that year 3 jump, or that someone unexpected shows up and dominates in camp. Now, you might be thinking this isn't exactly devastating news. After all, it's still early. We haven't even hit training camp yet. But for a rookie like Layden, every single rep counts. Every practice snap, every drill, every moment in the weight room with the vets. That's how you build trust. That's how you're a shot. And now he's missing that. It's not a season-ending injury or anything like that. At least, not from what we know, but it's enough to slow down what could have been a real breakout opportunity for him. And this isn't just about whether he's going to start week 1. This is about depth. This is about knowing that if someone like Strange or Andrews goes down, you've got a guy who can step in and keep the engine running. That kind of flexibility is what separates good teams from great ones. But let's not get too bogged down in negatives, because there was also a very interesting bit of good news this week. It didn't come from the field, and it's probably not going to show up on a highlight reel, but the Patriots made a move that might have a bigger impact than people realize. They brought in Cam McCormick, yes, that Cam McCormick, as a new scouting assistant. And if you're a fan of college football, you already know this guy's story is absolutely wild. The man played 9 years of college ball. 9. That's not a typo. That's not an exaggeration. He started at Oregon and finished at Miami. And through a combination of redshirt years, medical hardship waivers, and the extended eligibility from the COVID-19 season, he managed to stick around long enough to become a living legend in the NCAA. Now, obviously, the Patriots didn't bring him in for his playing career alone. They saw something else in him, something you can't measure at the combine or find on a stat sheet. Cam McCormick is a leader. Everyone who played with him says the same thing. He's the guy people rallied around, the one who kept spirits high when injuries piled up, the one who kept grinding year after year when most people would have walked away. That kind of presence doesn't go unnoticed. And while he never became a superstar on the field, what he brings to the table off the field could be exactly what this scouting department needs. Think about what this guy has seen. 9 years in college football means 9 years of systems, playbooks, locker rooms, coaching staffs, and teammates. He's been part of 2 major programs, both of which have produced serious NFL talent. And he's watched how guys develop, how they carry themselves, how they respond to adversity. That experience is gold when it comes to evaluating talent. He knows what kind of players survive in this sport. And more importantly, he knows how to connect with them. He's lived their reality. So when he walks into a combine or sits across from a potential undrafted free agent, it's not some suit asking cookie-cutter questions. It's a guy who's been in the trenches, who gets it, and who instantly earns their respect. And let's not forget, the Patriots have had success finding gems outside the first couple rounds. We've seen them turn UDFAs into real contributors, sometimes even stars. Part of that is having scouts who can recognize potential beyond just the raw numbers. And part of that is relationship building. If McCormick is the kind of guy that players instantly like, and by all accounts he is, that matters. That could be the edge in getting a promising player to pick New England over another offer. And if you think that doesn't happen, think again. Every year, there are guys who have multiple teams chasing them after the draft ends. Culture, connection, and trust often tip the scales. So while this move might seem small, it's actually a smart, strategic play. Cam McCormick is getting his foot in the door as a scouting assistant, but don't be surprised if he starts climbing that ladder fast. He's got the background, the personality, and clearly, the work ethic. This is a guy who got both his bachelor's and his master's degree while playing nearly a decade of football. That tells you everything you need to know about how committed he is. And now he's bringing that energy to New England, to one of the most respected and demanding organizations in football. It's also worth mentioning the ripple effect this could have. McCormick still has strong ties to both Oregon and Miami, and those pipelines are valuable. Whether it's connections to players still in college or relationships with coaches and support staff, he's going to be a trusted voice in evaluating talent coming out of those programs. And when you consider how much scouting departments rely on reliable intel from insiders, not just tape, that's a huge asset. Plus, players talk. Word gets around. If McCormick becomes the kind of guy prospects want to talk to, that could help New England in more ways than one. We'll have to see how it all plays out, especially as we get closer to training camp and the pads come on. That's when we'll get real answers. Who's healthy? Who's ready? Who's earned their spot? For now, there's still uncertainty, and yeah, maybe even some frustration. But there's also hope. And in New England, that's more than enough to keep things interesting. As we turn our attention back to the field, it's important to remember that setbacks like the one Layden Robinson is facing aren't always career-defining, especially not this early. But what they do reveal is how thin the line is between opportunity and obscurity in the NFL. For a young offensive lineman, especially one who isn't a top 10 pick and who's fighting for a spot on a roster stacked with question marks, the missed time during OTAs and minicamps can quietly start to close doors. That doesn't mean those doors are locked, but they definitely don't stay wide open forever. In this league, the more reps you get, the better chance you have of proving you belong. And unfortunately, the inverse is true too. Still, there's something to be said for how the Patriots develop their young players, especially in the trenches. New England isn't known for throwing rookies to the wolves unless absolutely necessary. Instead, they prefer to build them up behind the scenes, in the film room, in the weight room, during practice reps when no one's watching. It's a culture that values long-term development over short-term flash. So even though Robinson might be behind the curve right now, there's reason to believe he'll be given every chance to catch up once he's healthy. The coaching staff isn't going to throw him away. If anything, they'll challenge him to absorb more mentally while his body catches up physically. And when that window of opportunity opens again, likely during training camp, the pressure will be on him to prove that this brief setback didn't shake his readiness. Meanwhile, across the building, there's a very different kind of energy coming from the addition of Cam McCormick. What's especially intriguing about McCormick joining the Patriots in a scouting capacity is how quickly the culture fit feels right. New England has always appreciated grinders, guys who've been through adversity, kept their head down, and stayed the course. Cam exemplifies that. He spent most of his playing career trying to bounce back from injury after injury, but never walked away. And now, instead of chasing an NFL playing career that probably wasn't going to materialize, he made a pivot that still keeps him close to the game and could open up major doors down the line. It's also worth noting that someone like Cam can provide a rare bridge between generations of players. He's close enough in age to current prospects to understand their mindset and communicate in their language, but he's also got the maturity of someone who stuck it out across almost a decade in college football. That's invaluable. He'll likely spend his early days learning how the Patriots evaluate film, measure intangibles, and balance potential versus production. But over time, his ability to relate to players, especially those on the fringe, will make him a go-to presence in the building. And when we talk about influence, we can't overlook what that means in terms of recruiting undrafted talent. Each year, once the draft wraps up, there's a frenzy as teams try to bring in those next-tier prospects. In that process, connection is everything. If McCormick picks up the phone and calls a tight end from the pack, 12 who remembers him as a respected, grounded teammate, that call might carry more weight than one from a stranger in a front office. It's these subtle moments, these real-world touches, that can be the difference in adding a future contributor to the roster. There's still a long road ahead before any of this fully plays out. We haven't even hit the real grind of summer yet, where battles are won and depth charts start to solidify. But this combination of cautious optimism and strategic building is exactly what this phase of the offseason is about. It's not just about highlight reel moves. It's about quietly reinforcing the foundation, whether it's trying to get young guard healthy and prepared, or adding someone like Cam McCormick to strengthen your scouting eye and player relationships. These are the kinds of moves that show a franchise is thinking about more than just the next game. They're thinking about the next era. And that's a storyline worth watching. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that's already sending shockwaves through the AFC, rumors are swirling that the New England Patriots have secured a blockbuster signing. None other than Deshaun Watson, the talented quarterback who was once a cornerstone for the Cleveland Browns. This potential acquisition could dramatically reshape the landscape of the AFC and reignite the Patriots' offense in ways fans have been eagerly awaiting for years. Watson's tenure with the Browns was marked by both flashes of brilliance and frustrating inconsistency, but his undeniable talent has always kept him in the conversation as one of the league's elite quarterbacks. After a tumultuous period filled with injuries and off-field distractions, the idea of Watson heading to New England presents a fascinating what-if scenario for NFL fans and analysts alike. Could this be the Patriots' missing piece to recapture their former dominance? For years, New England has been searching for stability and star power at the quarterback position. While Mac Jones showed promise, the team hasn't quite found that transcendent signal caller to lead them back to the top. Watson, with his dynamic playmaking ability and experience under pressure, fits the mold of the kind of player who could flip the script for Bill Belichick's squad. Of course, questions remain about Watson's consistency and how he would mesh with the Patriots' disciplined, system-heavy approach. This reported signing also has ripple effects throughout the AFC. The Browns, who had hoped to build around Watson's talent, might now face a quarterback void that will force them to rethink their strategy for the upcoming season. Meanwhile, the Patriots' rivals will be closely watching how New England integrates Watson into their offense and whether he can overcome the challenges that have plagued his recent seasons. The timing of this rumor could not be more intriguing. With free agency heating up and training camps looming, a move of this magnitude could disrupt the balance of power in the conference. Patriots fans are already buzzing with excitement and cautious optimism, wondering if Watson's presence could signal a new era in Foxborough. While neither team has confirmed the deal, sources close to the matter hint that negotiations have progressed rapidly and that an official announcement could come sooner rather than later. Whether this turns out to be a masterstroke or a gamble remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. The AFC is about to get a lot more interesting with Deshaun Watson potentially calling plays in New England. Stay tuned as this story develops. One thing's for sure, the rumor mill around the Patriots and Deshaun Watson is firing on all cylinders. The next few weeks could redefine the trajectory of both franchises and provide football fans with plenty of drama to savor. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.